Just a terrible performance by the Cavs, especially James Harden.
Yeah, there's some revelations that's a little scary for the Cavs because, I think people don't realize Harden is, 36?
36 years old.
And there's a difference between being 36 in the regular season and there's a difference between being 36 in the postseason. I think that the thing that's alarming and very evident is that James Harden can't get by anybody. And I'm not just talking about Azor Thompson or one of the Thompson twins. I'm not just saying that this is Cade Cunningham because Cade is 6'7" and can move his feet. I'm not even saying Jalen Durlin. It's Duncan Robinson. It's Jenkins. It's everybody. He cannot get past people. He couldn't get past people in the first series against Toronto. So now you put yourself in a position where if you can't get by the first guy, now you have to really settle for, all right, let's get to the mid-range and knock these shots down. But as you can see, he's not knocking down the mid-range jumper. He's not knocking down the three-point shot. And the thing that we're looking at right now is the offense has become stagnant because traditionally, he is the guy. You're counting on him to run pick and roll and make the right decisions. But if he can't get to the rack, if he can't shoot the mid-range and the three is not dropping, and then add on the fact that he's dribbling the ball in one place and just senselessly turning the ball over, he's almost borderline unplayable. And it's crazy.
I think he's a net negative in this series so far.
What is we? He's a minus. Somebody sent me a stat.
He was minus 15 yesterday.
The Cavs had every single. I think it was a net zero for Mitchell, but everybody else was a minus.
Yeah. They lost the Mitchell minutes by 11 points. Or they lost the minutes Mitchell was on the bench. By 11 points. Mitchell was a net negative or a net neutral. He had a 0 plus minus. I saw someone tweet this morning. It's Chase. I think Chase KR8 on. He asked me if Harden just didn't play in Game 2, would we have won? Like if Harden just was in street clothes, and I was like, it's hard to argue against it. It's an impossible question to truly answer.
I don't think they.
It's impossible to answer. He wasn't good again. We went at him hard in the first hour. And I don't want to repeat the exact words we said because it's a full show. We got to do different topics, but he simply is not the player the Cavs thought they were getting when they made that deal at the trade deadline because they brought in James Harden to be 1B, to solidify those second units when Donovan's on the bench, to calm everybody. Kobe Altman had a quote during his press conference after the trade deadline when they acquired James Harden saying, and I'm paraphrasing, "I can't wait till we're in a late game playoff situation where we need a bucket late and we could have James with the ball and calm everyone down and get us into a great look."
Yeah.
And he spoke
the opposite is happening.
Well, he spoke the situation into existence. Mm-hmm. Last night, with the game still in hand, 6-point game, about 52 seconds left, Cavs called a timeout, set up a play, and it was the exact situation Kobe Altman described back in February on that post-game or trade deadline press conference. And instead of getting a calming possession where James Harden orchestrated the offense, they got a 2017, 2018 version of James Harden stylistically in the 2026 version of James Harden physically, and it led to a turnover where he tried to take Tobias Harris off the dribble. Harris walled him up the first time. He tried to pull back and go again. Donovan, who, in my opinion, should have cleared out so Asar Thompson isn't on that side of the court, had stepped up. You can see the play. I don't know why Donovan's bringing his man up into the action. Donovan should have cleared out. Besides the point, doesn't matter. James was unable to get by anybody. It was his 4th turnover of the game. It is now his 30th career playoff game with more turnovers than field goal makes. Just simply, I cannot state this enough, an inexcusable and frankly beyond horrific performance from James Harden in Game 2.
On the broadcast last night, I can't remember the exact words they used. They were talking about Cade Cunningham. It was actually a really great point, and I hope I don't butcher it. But I think basically what they said was, Cade Cunningham eats without taking off his teammate's plate.
Yes.
James Harden's the opposite. He eats and then throws up, and he took it all off his teammate's plate. Like, at his best when he's moving the ball, but he's not even doing that. He's not getting the assists in this. Cade Cunningham is so impactful.
Yeah.
Even when he doesn't shoot well, and last night obviously he shot better. I'd trade you Donovan and James for just Cunningham.
They would say no.
I know they would.
And by the way, Cade outscored Don and James combined in the fourth quarter. He had 12 of his 24 points in the fourth quarter. So
impactful.
When they needed buckets down the stretch. And I think this is the biggest difference right now to the first 2 games of the series. And you can parse it out however you want, but this kind of encapsulates everything. At the end of Game 1, tie game, right?
Yeah.
93-93. Detroit got 3 straight buckets off Cade pick and rolls.
Yeah.
First 2, third one, great steal by Duren. Cade, perfect bounce pass dunk.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham was able to get Detroit into good offense late in the game when they needed it most. Last night, Cade had 12 of his 24 points in the fourth quarter. When they needed buckets, when the Cavs took the lead, what did they do? They switched out the mismatch. They hunted James Harden. Cade went pick and roll, had Harden on his hip, and either scored or made the right play. I told you the stat in the first hour. I'll say it again. First time in NBA history since they started tracking this stuff back in 2014 that James Harden was the first player that allowed 7 of 7 field goal attempts against on drives. The Detroit Pistons drove on him as the primary defender 7 times, scored all 7 times. 5 of those 7 came in the second half. A lot of those were Cade Cunningham. When the Cavs needed buckets late, they tried going to James, and he wasn't able to create a mismatch, wasn't able to create space. Donovan went cold from 3 in the fourth quarter after playing really, really well for the majority of the game.
Because they pulled him out in the fourth quarter.
Lost his rhythm, but he missed a couple open threes late regardless. And the Cavs were unable to generate good offense when it mattered most. In 18 clutch minutes in this postseason, they've been outscored by 19 points. This whole idea that Donovan and James are going to formulate a terrific postseason clutch offense, it has not translated to actuality.
And don't you think, like, the Pistons others
have played better?
They play with, like, they feel like a bunch of random dudes. Like, some of them I never even heard of before.
They know their roles.
They play with confidence.
They know
all of them.
Here,
and Cade Cunningham believes in all his guys. And you never know who he's going to throw the ball to because they're all ready. Like, where there's so much standing around with the Cavs. The Pistons are just, there's just a much better flow to that team. And I don't know.
They just,
they're a better team, right? They're a better team. They may not have better talent, but they're a better team.
Right? You can't argue against it.
Yeah.
Do you think they're dead, G? Down 0-2, are they dead? Because we said after Cleveland went up 2-0 on Toronto, Toronto is dead. They obviously made that a series. What do you think about the Cavs' chances being down 0-2?
I got 75% dead. You know why? Here's the thing, and I'm not just saying it just off emotion. I'm watching these dudes, and we've seen 4 straight playoff appearances, 4 or 5 with this kind of the same people. I look at it. Batman said something to the Justice League one time. He's like, "Man, listen, I'm the only dude that ain't got no superpowers. My only superpowers is I understand and I think with my mind, and so I got to have a contingency plan for each one of y'all." So Batman was doing reverse moves on the Justice League, trying to figure out, I know what your weakness is, and they do that same thing to the Cavs. And the thing that always hits me and it gets me is the Cavs are not elite at anything, even the intangibles. You say, okay, well, talk about the Raptors and talk about the Pistons. The Pistons don't have elite scores, but what they do have is elite defense, elite elite toughness, elite energy. So they're going to make up for the skill gap because they're going to play hard. They know where they're supposed to be. The Cavs have more talent on paper. The problem is they get out-efforted the first 5-10 minutes of each game and dig themselves huge holes, and now you have to dig yourself out of those holes and get multiple stops and hit multiple shots. They don't execute. They're stagnant on offense. Their coach doesn't give you any elite motivation or elite saying, look, guys, JB is calling his guys out. You got Kenny Atkinson over there looking around like he's baking a cake. Like, it's just they don't do anything elite. And even on the court, they don't have elite ball handlers. They've been exposed. Donovan and James Harden they cannot get the ball up the court sometimes. They don't have knockdown shooters. It looks like Sam Merrill could be able to shoot. Max Strus has been the best shooter.
But not yesterday.
And they don't have elite rebounding, and they do not have elite toughness. So if you're not elite at any of those things and execution when it counts, think about how many 3-point shots they've given up at the end of quarters, McNuggets.
They've given up buzzer beater threes in 3 of the 8 quarters now, including the one last night.
Now the Cavs got a buzzer beater.
Donovan had the one, but the one to Jenkins felt like a back because they cut it to 4. And then the 3 minutes, 7 again.
Didn't Strus hit a buzzer beater? Yes, not a 3, but didn't he hit a buzzer beater yesterday?
No, he had the dunk that was followed up by the buzzer beater in game 1. He had the dunk at the end.
I thought he had one yesterday. I could be wrong.
Donovan had one in the half yesterday.
Yeah.
So it just those things, and then the little small things that you're chipping away. They miss 2 free throws, and then they get a tap back, and then it's a 3.
So you asked yesterday on the show, Bull, if they had lost last night, what was your percentage you think they'd win the series? And I went from I thought they'd win last night 60%
Yeah.
to losing down to 18%. And you were like, that's dropping way too far.
Yeah.
What do you think now?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think I'll give him a 30% chance to win the series.
I got him 25. I just haven't.
Yeah.
I just have not seen it. I have not seen the quick enough adjustments.
No.
I haven't seen the tenacity. And think about it. We told you, we were getting on you about you starting off slow.
Did
You
it again.
come out and just
It did it
play
again.
worse.
I think the Pistons have the better coach and the best player.
JB
Yeah.
is out. JB is coaching rings around him.
There's
right
no
now.
arguing that right now. Cade
Yeah.
Cunningham's been
Circles.
the best player in the series, and JB
Yeah.
Bickerstaff's been the better coach.
And-
when you look at
And by the way, yes, the Cavs on paper have more talent than the Pistons, but it's not like the Cavs versus the Raptors. The talent difference is not as big, and the Pistons are healthy, and they're deeper than the Raptors are. And most importantly, as good as Scotty Barnes is, Cade Cunningham's better.
Cade
Way
Cunningham,
better.
yeah, Cade Cunningham
Yeah.
would have finished third in the MVP
He's a
had he not
superstar.
had
Yeah.
the collapse lung late in the season.
He
and
is
dropped him
like
down. He's so good.
You watch a lot more
He's
NBA
so good.
than I do, so I don't watch the Pistons play that often. But getting to see him in like back-to-back
He's
games,
incredible, yeah.
He's so impressive. And unlike Donovan and James, he never has the problem bringing the ball up the court. Like even if he gets double teamed, he makes the perfect pass most of the time. Not that he never makes mistakes. He does. He turns the ball
he
over.
leads the NBA in turnovers this postseason.
Yeah, right. He does, but like he so makes up for it. Whereas Harden is not making up for his mistakes.
And with Cade,
Yeah.
he's 6'7", 6'8".
yeah,
225.
A legitimate point guard.
Yeah.
He look at
He
220.
can guard all 5 positions. He's
Right.
a matchup nightmare because he's so big.
they don't have like who's their weak spot on defense? Like, is it-
Duncan Robinson,
but he hasn't been that bad.
who comes from the Heat system,
Yeah, and
has good defensive principles.
right, and
He's
he
making
actually,
a ton of threes.
unlike the Cavs guys, not afraid to shoot.
Yeah.
And he's made what 10 out of
10 threes.
13.
And there's a clip going around. Even
That mustache is bad. Though.
It's crazy work.
I texted that.
Even the clip is going around where I think Dion.
We have it. And it's the tag board I sent you. Dean Wade.
And Donovan just dinged it through the screen, and it's like,
And you can see the soul leave Dean's body.
it's like, bro, listen, they are not, and this is the thing about the Guardians.
Cavs.
Right. Listen, I wish they would. Look, just, bro, you got to get over this.
This is on-
What are you doing?
This is on Donovan to get over. And real quick, G, on this place, this is late in the fourth quarter or late in the second half.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that from Dean Wade. Look at him.
And Dean's like, come on, Don. Now, not excusing Don whatsoever.
Donovan
'cause you
made
gotta get
no
over.
effort
You got to
at
get
all.
over. This is at the end of the game, after the Cavs had dug out of a 10-point deficit. We talked about it yesterday before the game. We talked about it again in the first hour. It's 5 straight playoff games. The Cavs have been down double digits in the first half. And when you're down that much that early, the margin for error the rest of the way is so razor thin. And you have to play so hard to just get back into the game.
Right.
You have to dig down deeper on defense. You have to get back in transition.
they're not doing
You have to
it.
run offense for 24 seconds to generate good looks. And then late in the games, when you try to take a possession off to just catch your breath real quick, that's when little plays like that happen. Those little plays are the difference in Detroit being up 2-0, the Cavs being down 2-0, and it is just such a fine line. It's literally minuscule of a perfect game you have to play on the road against the 1 seed when you're down 18 in game 1, when you're down 11 in game 2, and by the end of the game, and we have all the shots to show you guys if you want to see the threes they missed towards the end.
Yeah.
They're short. Maybe it's nerves.
Yeah.
Maybe it's tired
Low-
legs. It's probably a combination of them all.
The load management, Bull, let me just tell you this. You know the way you get in shape is by playing basketball.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about them being tired.
And the load management stuff, this is the problem with the Cavs. They told you all year, it's about the playoffs. But what they don't understand is you have to get your body ready to play in the playoffs. You have to build good habits. If you think you can come with the same level of effort and intensity in the playoffs that you are in the regular season, yeah, you can do it for 1 quarter. Maybe you could do for 2 quarters.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you can't do it for 4 quarters, you're going to not block out. You're going to try to take a possession off. You
Yeah.
got to get your mind mentally ready. This is 2 years in a row. They said they was tired last
Yeah.
year.
It's 4 years in a row.
Against the Pacers.
It's 4 years. G.
with Kenneth as head coach,
Kenneth, yes.
not including the Heat because that's a ridiculous series. He is now what 4-10 in the playoffs against against the.
Where's the
anybody
road
but
wins? Where's the road
They
playoff
won.
wins?
Their only win against the Pacers, I think, was on the
It was
road.
game 3 on the road last
So they were 1-4 last year, and then they were 4-3, so that's 5-7. So they're 5-9. 5-9.
They're 4-13 on the road in the Donovan Mitchell era.
Yeah, I mean,
You can look at
listen,
it like that.
I hate to say this, and this is a bigger story for after the season, but when they lose this series, I think the Cavs may need to totally tank.
Blow it up.
They need to fire Kobe. They need to fire Kenneth. They need to trade Donovan. They need to trade Evan Mobley and start over. I think you can't win with this group.
well-
There's no toughness. There's no grit. There's no fight.
Save that conversation for
Yeah, I know.
when it's just too early to
But
get
do you
into it.
disagree with anything I say?
I've said since the get-go,
Everything-
if they lose this
on the-
round,
everything on
it's
the
nuclear
table.
explosion. This whole thing gets
It's
blown up.
everything because and we haven't even
Can't
got
sign James Harden again. You can't
And-
re-sign
He's a
him.
player option. It's not your choice.
So here once again I keep trying to tell you
Yeah.
it's the person who has the most to lose or the most to gain is Evan Mobley. He had 9 points.
He's got nothing to lose.
He's
He's paid as a max contract guy.
I get it, but he might be on a max contract somewhere else. 9 points and 1 rebound. You got to think about this. I didn't see Wemby do that in 5 minutes. I didn't see guys Chet Holmgren do that in 6-7 minutes in 1 quarter. The problem with Evan Mobley, and this is it, and it's a problem with everybody for the Cavs and why I got them down to 25%, is literally they don't have shot creators like that. If you put pressure on Cavalier ball handlers, there is a good chance that they will either have an offensive foul, dribble the ball, or make a silly pass because they can't dribble like that. 2 or 3 dribbles, guys can't get the ball over the court.
They're missing that third.
It's
Well, really a second in this
Yeah.
series, and
I
maybe
mean-
even a first if you want to include Donovan.
The way they're playing, obviously they've lost 5 of their last 7 games. The way they're playing, there's no reason to believe they can win this series. Beyond that, like the series goes home and things flip. It just happens that way.
We did say the
I don't
same
think
thing
it's
when they
gonna
were up
matter.
2-0. What do you say?
What's that?
I was talking to Mike yesterday, and I'm sorry, I don't usually jump in, but I got something to say here about the Cavs.
Go ahead.
I don't think it's going to matter when they go back home. What if they go 2-2? They don't have home court advantage, and they don't seem to want it enough to win on the road, right?
Yeah, well, it may
Like,
not. It may not matter in the long
it
run, but
won't.
it might matter in the short term for games 3 and 4.
I don't
Like
think
just to
it's
get
gonna
them back in the
And
series.
to-
I think they're going to come out slow in this next game at home. They're going to falter. They might win it late, and then they're going to blow the second game at home anyways.
If
see
you're
that.
looking for a silver lining,
Yeah.
and once again, I think I'm the lowest. I had 18%. You had 30. You had 25. So I'm
Yeah.
the lowest on the chances to come back now.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a silver lining, let me just give you the silver lining of what you could look forward to if you
I
still
know
are
what you're
holding
saying.
on.
It's going to piss me off, but go ahead.
No, just I went through the 25 misses the Cavs had yesterday
Yeah.
from 3. They shot 7 of 32 from 3. It was their third worst performance from beyond the arc in 91 games this season.
Yeah.
Their third worst. And then if you want to play the clip of all the threes or the wide open ones, either one, you could see some of them, especially late. They got some pretty good looks. These are just all 25. In the next clip, you'll see some of the wide open ones. Hey, take the wide open ones down 1. I mean, these are shots that late in the game, this would have tied it up. That's wide open. Evan Mobley's going to get one from the corner on the next one. This would have tied it up wide open. They got some good looks. They didn't make threes. Detroit had their 7th best three-point shooting game out of 91 yesterday. It was the Cavs' 3rd worst. You have to imagine the shooting variance evens out a little bit, but that's the
Why? But
only
they've been
silver
shooting
lining.
crappy for a while now. And by
I'm
the way,
saying, I'm
Yeah.
the lowest. I'm just saying,
I
if
know,
you're looking
but
for a
listen to
silver
me,
lining,
listen to me.
this is the silver lining you can hold on to.
is anybody slower at getting off a 3-point shot than Evan Mobley?
No, that's why he only shoots when
He
he's
only
open.
shoots when he's open, wide open, because otherwise it's going to get blocked, even at 7 feet,
Yeah,
because
but-
he's soft.
He's been their best three-point shooter this playoffs. though.
and that-
That sums up why they
I
can't
know
stink right
that's
now.
my point. Like that
Anthony
is,
said
I'm just
it.
saying, if you're looking for a silver lining, that's what you can hang your hat on. But of the three of us, I had the lowest confidence level in their.
Wouldn't you I find the Pistons much more fun to watch. The Cavs are not a likable team. They were likable because they're nice guys, but they're so unlikable.
Well, you know what's funny about that?
Yeah,
So when they made the trade for James Harden,
yeah.
I was like, he's my least favorite player to watch.
Yeah.
And then seeing him in
all
person, the way he
jumped on
played in the
board.
regular season, like it changed. And this has gone back to the James Harden I didn't like watching. And the teams that I had said
That's why every team
historically
trades
speaking-
for him, because you get excited and then you lose
And
interest quick.
historically speaking, I'd always said, I don't think that style of basketball wins in the playoffs. They had gotten away from it in the regular season. They've gone right back to it.
Yeah.
And he just can't quit bad
but,
habits.
But the heart of the issue is this. I agree with Anthony. Listen, the Cavs are a team that is, at this point when you're a championship team, they're depending on stuff that middling teams depend on. Oh, hey, we missed shots. Hey, they made shots. Or, hey, we got down early. Or now we're back home. They did what they were supposed to do, and they were going to protect home court. Now it's time. No, listen, guys, you don't have home court. You play horrible on the road.
Yeah.
You start off slow at home. You don't blow anybody away. As a matter of fact, I thought Toronto played way better than the Cavs played because they had Ingram and Quickly out. And you almost lost that series. Now you're here. If you think you're going to magically just walk back in, we talked to him and said, listen, if you're starting slow at home, you're not even giving your crowd an opportunity to get into the game.
Yeah.
So if you win 2 games, fine. Are you winning in Detroit the next game in Game 5? Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
they
come back home.
certainly could.
Right.
If it's 2-2, we're going to
But
feel
there's
a lot
no reason to
different about
believe they
But
will.
they-
But
they've
if
given
it's
us-
2-2, we might feel differently.
They've given us nothing at this point
Yeah.
that makes us believe they can. If
Right.
we come back on Monday before Game 4 and they win
Yeah.
Game 3 with ease,
We're
we're all going to sit here and talk ourselves into it because that's what we
because
do.
that's the benefit. We're not giving you the benefit of the doubt. You got to show us 2
Yeah.
games.
They've done
James-
nothing to earn our
No.
trust. Right? They've done
James
nothing.
Harden is like meeting a hot girl, right? Like when you're in college and you met some gorgeous girl and she showed some interest and you're like, how is this happening? This girl is amazing. How is she available? And then you take her home and you realize she's got no personality. She's dumb as a stump and she's racist, and that's why she's available.
Whoa, that's
I'm not
all
saying
the
James
above.
Harden's racist,
That-
but
that-
like
that's,
that she's a total.
I do not co-sign that.
That beyond
I want
the
this off.
looks,
This is not me.
beyond the initial look, everything behind the curtain is awful.
Let me add to that, and it'll help you out a little bit. It's even more devastating if you're in the market when you're older and you're maybe in your 40s and you meet somebody online and you're like, wow, she doesn't have any kids. She's she goes to the same church as me. Like has a great job. You're like, and you ask her, you're like, have you ever been married? They're like, no, I've never been married. I've only had 3. You're like, this is great. But then you realize when you go on 4 or 5 dates, you're like, oh, that person's set in their ways. That person cares about what they want to do. That person is already a made, finished product, and you don't get too many changes out of that, even if you meet somebody at that age. So James Harden is 36. He plays the game a certain type way. It looks good when it's easy, but let you have 2 or 3 arguments. Let you have to decide big major decisions like, hey, what are we going to do? Are we going to mortgage our house? Are we going to sell the house and move? Those things are not conducive to a person who is 40, has not been in a relationship, and is always looking for something.
The honeymoon phase is worn off.
It's done. The question is, can you change the way you play? Can Kenny Atkinson change the way that they play on a fly against a team that's defensive?
We're not here to preview tomorrow's game tomorrow, obviously Saturday. I'll just give the one adjustment that they have to make. The ball has to be in Donovan's hands like 96% of the time. Like James Harden has to become an off-ball decoy.
Yeah.
Use him as a corner shooter. I understand he has the ability to do more, but right now,
No, he doesn't.
I
Right now, he doesn't.
don't trust him to get past anyone on
No.
Detroit, especially Asar Thompson. The offense has to run through Donovan
But you
Mitchell.
know that's not going to happen.
I'm just saying that's the adjustment I would make if they're going to do it. So.